Hey, mic check, 1 2 1 2. Yes, indeed, we are still rolling. This is day 20 of 26 of the ABCs of Wealth Challenge. We are on the letter T. Y'all. We are on the letter T. For those of y'all coming in, definitely, you know what to do. Put your city and state in so I know where you're logging in from. And we are definitely going to get rolling. Like I said, we are on T. Now, T is very, very loaded. But I promise you, I am not going to be here before you super long, but I am going to talk about some T's. The thing that you got to remember when it comes to T is your time. Time is your most valuable asset that you can have, right? You can always get more money if you lose it. You can always get another car if you lose it. You can always get another air conditioner or appliance or any materialistic thing if you lose it. But guess what? You cannot get your time back. Time is something that you cannot get back. So you have to use the majority of your time. I didn't say hurry up and speed up, but you have to use your time efficiently. You can't waste it. You can't waste it with things that are not going to advance you or get you to where you need to go. A lot of times, a lot of people spend a lot of time wasting on things that they take time for granted. So they waste a lot of time on things that does not advance them, does not give them, push them in the direction that they're trying to go. Because psychologically you think, let's for instance, when we were kids, I remember thinking about my aunts, and I would say, man, that's my aunt G. She's 30 years old. And I remember saying to my other cousins or my friends, like, ooh, that's old. And guess what? When you reach the age of 30, you got there kind of quick. Think about school. When you were in school, I know I'm not the only one that heard, Nikisha, what's going on with you? I know I'm not the only one that heard time is going to fly by, right? Time is of an essence. You started as a freshman and you were a senior before you knew it. The point that I'm making is make sound decisions with your time, because again, you cannot get your time back. You cannot. Guys, I'm telling you, when you use your time wisely, you got to make sure that you are strategically using it to advance what you want to do. I didn't say make your whole life about business, but what I said is use your time wisely. Schedule it. Schedule fun time. Schedule play time. But make sure that for your goals and your dreams, that you definitely make sense of your time. That's the first T, time, right? Now I'm going to talk on terminology and perspective, right? Because these are the ABCs of wealth, right? And we on T. I want you to think about how this society works. Before you and I were even chromosomes, America came up with terminology and perspective when it comes to finances and it comes to wealth, right? They use letters and numbers to confuse the common American. They do. How many of you guys had a job and the first thing they do is they give you a whole bunch of paperwork, and one of those forms is called a W-4? Or even if they're not going to give you a W-4, they give you another form called a 1099. So you put your name on it, you put your address, you put your social security number, but then they ask you a little bit more in detail, how are you filing taxes? Single, married filing jointly, head of household, separated. They ask you a bunch of things, right? They do give you a brief explanation, but nobody has ever taught you that. Then you got allowances, deductions, right? These are questions that they're asking on this form that you fill out. But we're not talking about the form. We're talking about terminology and perspective. See, you were taught that, hey, when you start a job, you fill out these forms, but nobody ever taught you. You've heard of when you start a job and you retire that you should have a 401k. Another terminology that was designed that you weren't necessarily educated on. Then you get, I know for me, when I first heard of 501c3, which is a nonprofit organization, first time I heard that was I heard a lot of people of my peers saying, man, I'm going to start a 501c3. Why? Because I heard that you can benefit from it. What did you hear that you could benefit? You don't know, right? You just heard. But again, 501c3, 1099, W-2, W-4, 401k, Schedule C, Schedule A, Schedule S, LLC, S Corp. See, these are things that we've heard, but America plays on your ignorance. Because if you don't understand those terms, then you will always get caught up by the terms and agreement of those terms because you did not understand the terminology and perspective. Simple. So not only do you want to use some of your time to maybe educate yourself or get educated on some of that terminology and perspective, because I'm telling you, if you don't understand terminology and perspective in this world that we live in, and it's a capitalistic society, it is a game being played, and you will be taken, another T, advantage of. One of the biggest, most concepts when it comes to wealth is taxes. Why taxes? Now, I'm not talking about tax evasion. That's definitely not what I'm talking about. But when you look at taxes, do you ever wonder why you have wealthy people that make millions and billions of dollars and pay zero in taxes? And then you have the middle and the lower class that pay a third of their income. Well, that's because most America are caught up in the game and they don't understand the terminology and perspective when it comes to taxes. Do you understand that the largest expense that you have is taxes? Why is that? Well, taxes take 1/3 of your income. So that means that takes 1/3 of the year of what you have made. So in other words, whatever job that you're doing, instead of you getting paid for 12 months, because there's 12 months in a year, you actually only get paid for 8. So you actually work for free for 4 months. Now, Brandon, what do you mean? Well, let's think about it. If you have a job and you filled out that W-4 form, do you understand that that W-4 is a tax code? A lot of people don't understand that. It's a tax code. So that means that you're in the highest tax bracket. Well, how so? Well, because if all you can do is contribute labor to America, America doesn't see you as an asset, because all you can provide is labor. So they put you in the highest tax code because they think that you don't deserve benefits. You don't need all your money. So, of course, they put you in the highest tax code. Daryl, what's going on, man? So what they do is not only do they put you in the highest tax code, but they take 1/3 of your income. But the first thing that wealthy people do when they come into wealth, whether you're an entertainer, whether you're a musician, whether you're an actor, whether you're an athlete, the first thing they do is they start a business. Now, I'm not saying that they don't want to be aspiring entrepreneurs, but they start a business mainly because they get a incredible tax code or tax break. They get an incredible tax break. So the first thing that they do is they start their business. And when you start a business, guess what? you now have the ability to lower your tax bracket legally, ethically, and morally. How so? Easy. Because as a business owner, America says, guess what? We'll give you benefits because you now have the ability to hire others. That's an asset because you can help others. So if you can help others, they will give you tax breaks that you don't get without of a business, such as hiring your children. Why do you think that the government gives you a tax break when you expand your family? Why do you think the government gives you a tax break when you get married? Why do you think that they give you a tax break when you start that nonprofit organization? Because America, again, gives you incentives when they want you to do something. Think about it. It's right there. But if you don't understand the terminology and perspective, you will always be lost. And then you will keep doing what you were taught, growing up, that came from people that did not know about finances, right? I always say, in these day and times of today, we need to stop giving our children buying our children what we didn't have and start teaching them what we didn't know. Guys, taxes are your largest expense. That makes me ask, why don't you have a business? A home-based business is the easiest asset that you can obtain. One, because you have a social security number, and two, because you already got a roof over your head. And those two things right there make you a sole proprietor. But that's on S. We on T. So guys, you gotta cherish and mock your time. You got to, I don't care how you look at it, you have to cherish your time because time is something that you can't get back. You also gotta start understanding terminology and perspective. There is a game out here in this world called capitalism. And if you don't learn it and understand the game and the rules of the game, then you will continue to get played, right? And then the other thing is also know your tax code. There's several tax codes out there. Some of them that we just spoke about. Your W-2 tax code, W-4 tax code, 1099 tax code, 501c3, 401k, 401b for my educators, tax codes. What is the gist of the tax code? Because the government has their hand in it if it is a tax code that was designed by the capitalistic government that governs our money. They have their hand in it. You don't believe me? You got to invest. And if you have a checking account or you have a savings account, guess what? There is an interest amount that is tied to those. And interest is the penalty that you pay for the right to own something in advance that you cannot afford. The banks, which are governed by the FDIC, which is another government entity, they have their hands on your money. That's why you get dividends in every single month in those accounts. Why? Because the government is using your money depending on the tax code that you are in. That's what they do. Guys, I could go on and on educating you on just the tax bracket or that topic or that umbrella of taxes, right? Definitely go back in my timeline, starting at A, rocking all the way down here to T. Take some of the notes, apply them to yourself, and definitely use them, right? I'm going to end right there because I know that you guys got more to do, and so do I. But look, I wanted to take this time especially, stay dedicated to the cause and continue with the ABCs of Wealth Challenge. I will be back on tomorrow. Rocking on. We're in the home stretch, and I'm telling you, you don't want to miss it. Click like, click share, and I definitely will see y'all tomorrow. Don't forget, cherish your time, learn that terminology and perspective, and definitely get yourself in a lower tax bracket. All right, peace.